Yes, if this board does not mind, and as well as the community as a whole, there's a few things that I want to say on this item tonight. In 1957, the then East Baton Rouge Parish School Board allocated $2.3 million to build a new school, which was voted to be called South Downs High School. A year later, in 1958, Eugene Davis Sr., an African-American man, filed a lawsuit against that board, which began the longest-serving desegregation order in the country. As a result, in May of 1958, the name was changed to Robert E. Lee High School. And here we are. Tonight, our school board has the power to change the trajectory of our future by moving forward from our divided past. Tonight, our entire parish is watching as they expect our elected leaders to do the right thing by our students. During this past week, one of my fellow board colleagues, Ms. Connie Bernard, suggested that we research Robert E. Lee to get a better understanding of the legacy that he left behind. Tonight, I want to briefly present those findings as suggested. During the year 1857, Robert E. Lee owned 189 slaves that were forced to work on his plantation in Arlington, Virginia, yet his name hangs over our school. Under the demand of his late father-in-law's will, which provided he free all slaves after 5 years, Lee tried multiple times to resist and keep the slaves under his control, yet his name hangs over our school. According to one historian, Lee was known to use violence typical of the institution of slavery, where slaves tried to escape his discipline while being recaptured and beaten on Lee's orders, yet his name hangs from our school. Lee didn't free slaves until 3 days before Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation was ordered, yet his name hangs from our school. Lee was ordered to command Union forces in 1861, but instead chose to commit a treasonous act by deflecting from those orders to become the general of the Confederate Army, which promoted the institution of slavery against people of color. Yet his name still hangs from our school as though he is someone to be honored and revered across our community, our city, and our parish. Let me be abundantly clear tonight. It is time to change that name. We are here in collective conscience to rectify a 75-year wrong. We can no longer afford to delay and deny resolution to a community that has been for far too long been unheard. Plainly, any building that this elected body chooses to name in honor of our community's history should at a minimum be reflective of the human dignity of all its people. Before we can begin to heal, we must first begin to correct the mistakes of those that came before us. Tonight, we have both a duty and a responsibility to disband a legacy of racism, hatred, and ignorance. I ask that in full consensus of our school board that this resolution to change the name of Lee High School pass without opposition. I will leave you all with this. If someone kidnapped your child and sold them, where would you want us to put the statue of that person?